You're listening to the Cool CLE Show.
I'm Jay, host of the Cool CLE Show, brought to you by CoolCleveland.com, putting you in touch with cool events, people, news, and neighborhoods in the Cleveland region. Playhouse Square is an exciting and entertaining destination in our city. As the country's largest performing arts center outside of New York, this not-for-profit performing arts center utilizes the arts to engage individuals and attract more than 1 million guests per year to over 1,000 annual events. This week, we're joined by Cleveland blogger and board member of Playhouse Square Partners and Young Professionals, Jen, to talk about just some of the cool things happening at Playhouse Square this spring, including Flanagan's Wake, Michelle Obama, and School of Rock, as well as the Disney Musicals in Schools program. But first, here's some events that I think should be on your calendar. Hop Brew House is kicking off its year of keg tappings on the first Wednesday of every month starting March 6th. Keg tappings are a celebration for all to join in. The Hofbrew House uses these events to shed some light on local individuals and groups who are taking their time to make a hard stance on bettering our communities. It's Wizard World Comic-Con at the Huntington Convention Center on March 8th through the 10th. It's also time for Creation 2.0 Soul on Saturday, March 9th at Magellan, Cleveland's newest music and art festival featuring local talent from the Cleveland and Akron area. It's only $5 to get in. Creation will be donating proceeds to the music settlement in order to support music education and therapy in Cleveland. On March 10th, there's an interesting talk being held at 78th Street Studios. A Tel Aviv-based graffiti artist and activist will host an illustrated talk about the vibrant street art scene in Tel Aviv, Israel. Now we have new music from Akron's Coup de Grace. Released in February, this track is available from the group's Bandcamp. It's called Summer's Gone.
Am I doing this right? Or am I going
That was Akron's Coup de Grace with their latest release, Summer's Gone. They will join two other Akron bands, Twin Atomic and Idolos, at West Side Bowl in Youngstown on March 9th. Okay, we are now joined by Cleveland blogger Jen from the WhyCLE.com to talk about all the cool things that are happening at Playhouse Square in March. Thank you so much, Jen, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you serve on the co-chair of the Playhouse Square Partners, and you're involved really heavily in their youth program as well. So we just want to kind of talk about some of the cool stuff they've got going on in March. I mean, Playhouse Square is such a huge staple to our cultural, events in Cleveland. What are some of the things that they've got coming up on the docket that we should be mindful of?
Absolutely. Well, if you haven't already heard, Playhouse Square has just announced their 2019-2020 Broadway Series, so you can check that out on their website. That's the whole roster of all the Broadway shows that will be coming starting in the fall and running through next summer. So that's always an exciting time, seeing what new shows we're going to be getting and things like that. But from the community engagement and education standpoint, on March 11th at Playhouse Square, the Disney Musicals and Schools program will be having their student share performance. And this is a really unique event. It's when the schools that have been participating in the Disney Musicals and Schools program, which I can talk more about, they get to actually come down and each school performs a number on the Ohio Theater stage.
Wow,
and we're
how exciting for them.
Yeah, we're talking about grade school kids. And for a lot of these kids, it's their first time, in a theater at Playhouse Square, in a theater of that magnitude. And then to be able to perform on stage for their family and their classmates and their teachers. It's a really, really cool thing, and that's happening on March 11th.
And the lead up to that, they're doing like quite an intensive program with those chosen schools. What sort of things are they teaching the kids in the lead up to that big ultimate performance?
So what they do is they have a 17-week program, and there's actually teaching artists from Playhouse Square that go in and work with the schools. And they're teaching them songs and choreography. Each school is doing a set Disney Junior musical. So it's a sort of a shrunken version of something like The Lion King or The Jungle Book. Mm-hmm. But they do everything from set design and costumes to the choreography. And the goal is not just to put on a production in this year, but to create a sustainable musical theater program in that school. And so the idea when Playhouse Square leaves, and they've worked it into a 2-year program where they sort of reduce the amount of help they get in the second year, and by the third year, these schools should have a standalone musical theater program that can continue on for the kids.
So not just giving them a fish, but teaching them to fish.
Exactly.
Or to sew, or set design, or dance and sing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's really exciting because, I mean, I remember growing up, I wasn't a great theatrical person, but I do remember that being a big part of my school, time. And you learn a lot of different skills from doing that. It's about confidence and responsibility and things like that. Yeah.
And for a lot of these kids, they can't participate in the program unless they're doing well academically. They're making all their other classes and getting good grades and things like that. So it's a motivator for them beyond just showing up for the theater rehearsals. Mm.
And I mean, Playhouse Square, this is a very noble thing that they're doing, but just generally, like you say, bringing the Broadway series in. I mean, they've had Miss Saigon and all these really great things. They're even bringing Michelle Obama this month, March 11th. How awesome is that?
So exciting. I mean, just so exciting to be able to have her book tour. I have to confess, I tried to get tickets and literally logged on like a minute after they went on sale, and they were gone. Yeah.
I know, but it's so great that she's got a stop in Cleveland. I mean, we seem to be attracting, talent like that, and even for people to think that Cleveland should be the stop on their tour is definitely we're definitely getting somewhere. We're getting past that mistake on the lake thing, aren't we?
Absolutely, and we launched the national tour of Waitress in the previous Broadway season. This year we launched the national tour of Hello Dolly. We're becoming really a stop for these Broadway shows. And so up next from the Broadway perspective in March is School of Rock. But I wanted to highlight something at Playhouse Square that's kind of a unique experience, and it's actually their final season, so you're sort of your last chance to see it. But it's called Flanagan's Wake.
Yes.
And it's an improv show, and it takes place in Kennedy's Theater, which is a theater that most people don't even realize is at Playhouse Square. But there's stairs going down in the Ohio Theater lobby, and it's like a very speakeasy pub sort of style theater, very intimate. And so Flanagan's Wake is there through April 27th, and it's their final run. It's just really it's a hilarious show. They get the audience involved. It's really sort of rowdy, not kid friendly. Fun. And so if you haven't seen that, this is, there's a chance to do that.
So I've seen it as sort of is it sort of black comedy on an Irish sort of wake or?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
it takes place at an Irish wake, and there's a host of characters vying for the money to come from the will and all of that. And it's just, there's singing and dancing, and they encourage you to get up and go to the bar in the middle of the show. It's a really fun time.
Sounds very interactive and definitely memorable.
Yes.
So you've been just talking a little bit about your outside of the Playhouse Square. You do this blog called WhyCLE. You talk about how Cleveland keeps pulling you back. What sort of inspired you to sort of start doing the blog and highlighting all the cool stuff in Cleveland?
So I'm like a bad penny, and I keep coming back home. But the second time I moved back home, which was in 2009, people kept asking me why I came back to Cleveland, and it was people who lived here who were asking me, and I thought that was really sad. And I know that there's sort of been a real renaissance, since that time. But even then, it was, to me, there was a lot more than just being close to my family that drew me back to Cleveland. And so that was sort of where the blog idea started from, was each post is another great reason why you should live in Cleveland. And so it's been 8 years of constantly asking that question. And very few people ask me anymore. And I sometimes feel like I'm preaching to the choir, writing about all the cool things in Cleveland, but that's how you get them to sing. So, I'll keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a fun blog if you're interested, and you've got lots of really great ideas. You review events, you talk about really cool businesses in the area, you have giveaways and competitions and all kinds of stuff. So definitely check out WhyCLE.com and find out why Jen is so happy to live in Cleveland. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about your blog and about what's coming up at Playhouse Square. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And that's it for this week. Big thanks to Jen from WhyCLE.com to talk Playhouse Square. Make sure you go to playhousesquare.org, take in all the new events that are slated for 2019. You've been listening to the Cool CLE Show. Have a good